I know a lot of you have been messaging me saying that yes, all the recipes are delicious, but sometimes they're a little bit complex. So today we're gonna focus on a dessert that requires three things: eggs, sugar, and milk. Pretty cost effective as well. It's a classic from France that I grew up eating that is delicious. You have a vanilla custard in the bottom and then a delicious caramel on top. And that is the crème caramel. I'm so excited to do it with you, and only two things remain to be done. It's to get cooking and to make sure you subscribe. So let's go.
Alright, so surprisingly, to make a crème caramel, you need caramel. I know, who would have thought? So we're gonna start with a small saucepan and we're gonna place our sugar and a bit of water. It is not a dry caramel, it's a wet one, obviously. And we're gonna place it on the stove on medium high heat until it becomes caramel. At first, we're gonna give it a bit of a tiny whisk and then we're gonna let it be until it gets that beautiful amber color. At which point, I'm going to take it off the heat and I'm gonna place it on my corkboard. Meanwhile, I'm gonna grab my faux ramekin and I'm gonna place that delicious caramel in the bottom of these beautiful ramekins. Make sure it's nice and even so we have the same quantities and nobody's jealous at the dinner table, because trust me, when it comes to the amount of caramel, there will be fight. So yes, obviously you're gonna see the caramel is actually still cooking. So that's why you also wanna go fast and you don't wanna go too far when you make the caramel, because it's going to carry on getting that beautiful amber color. And if it goes over, it will be bitter, and no one wants to be bitter. At this point, I'm happy, so we're gonna let him cool down for about 30 minutes. While the caramel is cooling, we're gonna work on the actual flan part of the crème caramel. So I will grab a medium saucepan and I'm going to place the milk into it. I want to infuse that milk with one of my favorite flavor, which is vanilla. So I'm gonna grab a pod from my friend at Vanilla and Spice, and I'm going to open it like a lid, starting by cutting the top and the bottom, and we're gonna split it down the center, but I'm sure you've seen me doing that before if you've seen one of my videos, and if you haven't, well, maybe you should go check them out and also subscribe. Anyway, back to us. I'm going to scrape all the beautiful black gold, make sure I'm not missing a single grain. And also you want to keep the pod in those little pieces because there's still flavor. So we're going to also add that to the milk mixture and we're going to remove them before we obviously serve it. Make sure you give also a tiny little whisk once you've added on heat, on I would say medium low, right? We want to go like low and slow and steep it. Make sure you give that tiny whisk because that will help the seeds to kind of like go everywhere. So, meanwhile, when our milk is steeping, we're gonna work on blanching the eggs. What does that mean? Well, it means that we're gonna crack those beautiful farm eggs, beautiful orange rich color, and we're gonna add our sugar. Well, basically that's what it's called. It's called blanching, because what's gonna happen when you mix sugar and eggs together and you whisk them vigorously, they're gonna start to get a little more white, right? So that's kind of like me, you know, it's very pale. All right, anyway, back to us. I'm going to prep the dish. I'm gonna place some jet cloth in the bottom of a dish and I'm gonna boil some water. Our milk is actually perfect right now. I'm really happy with it. It's just about to bubble. I can smell the vanilla. So we're gonna take it off the heat and we're gonna place that milk into our sugar eggs mixture while whisking at all time. It's going to kind of like combine them together, and that will really be the base of the crème caramel. Okay, so we are then going to take that mix and place it into a jar with a little spout, which is going to make the pouring a lot easier. You don't have to do that, but trust me, it will definitely save your life. Okay, I'm going to take my ramekin with the caramel that is now hardened. It'll probably take about like half hour to do. And then I'm going to take my jar and I'm going to place the mix, okay? But make sure it's nice and even, so obviously when you cook it, it will cook exactly the same time. Once I filled my ramekin evenly, I'm gonna grab my little kettle and I'm gonna place all that it's boiling water. Let's just say it is boiling water. We're gonna bring that boiling water and we're gonna place it into our 14 by 9 inches dish. The reason why I like to take a large dish, I like to have some space between the ramekin so they can really have their own little zone and cook perfectly, right? They're not crowded per se. Okay, and also remember to make sure you use a towel so there's no contact between the glass and the ramekin. In terms of volume, you want to put about, I would say, 2/3 of the height of the crème caramel, right? So not the ramekin, but the actual level of the crème caramel. I am then going to place it in my oven at 350 degrees Fahrenheit for 50 minutes. And well, it's going to be pretty difficult to wait. So I'm probably gonna go play on my phone or just, I don't know, like bite my fingers. Honestly, I don't know what to do with myself when I gotta wait for dessert. 50 minutes later. All right, the time has come to give it a check on this little baby. So I'm gonna take it out of the oven, and the best way to kind of know if they're cooked is to just shake them up. They should jiggle a little bit, right? Not too much, just like a tiny bit. At this point, I'm gonna take them off the water, and we're gonna place them in a fridge for at least an hour so they cool down. 90 minutes later. All right, so the time has come. So I'm going to take my little spatula and I'm gonna go all around the ramekin to kind of like lift the crème caramel from its mold so it's easier to unmold, for like a better word. So I'm gonna take that ramekin and I'm gonna take my plate, put it over top and flip it, right? So it might not come out on our first try, so we might need to tap it, shake it, honestly, whatever it takes to take it out and actually enjoy it. So, you know what? After a bit of elbow grease, we did it.
And here we have it. Such a simple dessert, very few ingredients, but yet it's going to make everyone happy, and it has been since I was a child. If you enjoyed this recipe, as always, please like, comment, and subscribe. Recipe will be in the description below, and I will see you on the next video, but first I'm going to try it.